All right, so
The errands meet
yes,
when errands collide.
for the first
Don't cross the errand streams.
and did not see that one coming. All right, so tell me about the lead up to the Kickstarter, like the time between the dark days between.
The decades in between.
Yeah, the decade in between the end of Overseer and before, around the time. Tell me how you came about to decide to do the Kickstarter and how you went about that process.
So let's deal with the Dark Ages briefly.
Yeah.
It's been pretty well documented what happened there, but we just always thought something would happen eventually. You know, we knew we had a really strong fan base, and we felt like despite the bad rap that FMV got toward the end of that whole period in the mid-90s, that we had proven that, you know, we could do it pretty well, and that we would be able to survive that, but we weren't. We were like the survivors that got off the Titanic but not far enough away from the Titanic. And so it just sucked us all down. And so anyway, we just kind of thought it would always happen, and you know, we tried the radio theater and we debated some other ideas of really scaled down things, because we always felt like it was the story that was really the most important part. And then Kickstarter came along, and Chris is the money guy, he's always been the budget guy. And he was all excited about Kickstarter. He was like, maybe this is the chance, you know, for us to do it, because we do have a good following. And it really went beyond all our expectations, you know. When we were first talking about the scope of the game that we would do, it was not nearly what it's turned out to be. And I told him he was crazy for setting the goal at 450,000. I was like, let's go 300,000 and be really happy if we get there. But, you know, I guess he knew what he was doing, So once we got to that point, then it was a matter of, well, how much more do we need to throw into the pot to get it to where we want it to be?
Right. So tell me about your reaction to the fan reaction to the Kickstarter. Did you have any idea that it would actually reach all the stretch goals?
No, it was crazy. I mean, it was, you know what it was? It was humbling more than anything else, because we knew we had some passionate fans, but when they started really coming out of the woodwork, because there are maybe 100 or 200 that are really active, but there were thousands that really just responded and said, you know, I've always lurked on the boards and whatever, but I've never actually said anything. And, this has got me all worked up. I'm ready to go out and, you know, get the word out. So we were really, really pleased and humbled by that reaction. And it really led to this overwhelming desire to deliver something for the fans. And that was really what it was about. It was not about us. It wasn't about us saying we're amazing and we should have had this opportunity 15 years ago. It was, thank you, fans. Let us do what we can for you guys.
So, well, giving a thank you to the fans is one thing. Actually involving them in the process to the level that you guys did is something entirely different. Tell me about what it was like to actually, well, I don't know how much you did, but tell me what it was like to actually work side by side with the fans to help make this happen. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was interesting because there's a certain kind of evolution of the relationship. And I've never experienced personally, like I've never gotten a chance to work with someone that I had idolized or just appreciated their work from afar. And I've always worried that when people met us, they'd be like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I liked you more when I didn't know you, you know, so. But as it turned out, I mean, the fact is a lot of people have told me and Chris that we're not like a lot of other people in the industry. We've heard, I don't know how many times people go, you know, I never would have guessed you guys make video games for a living. And which isn't to give people who make video games a bad rap, but we're probably a little more social and, you know, outgoing. And when people showed up, I think for a lot of them, it was as fun as they'd hoped it would be. And they wanted to stay, and they wanted to do whatever they could to help, you know. And I think if they'd come in and we were just a couple of assholes and said, yeah, thanks for your money, nice to meet you. You want me to sign something? No, get out. You know, it would have been a very different experience. But we really liked meeting the fans, you know, and they were so much fun and interesting people. and they seemed to like us too, and so it was this really symbiotic relationship. And when they started really volunteering, we didn't go to them and say, do you want to come work the set with us? They'd be like, hey, I noticed you could probably use someone over here, holding the light. We're like, yeah, if you want to do it. And before we knew it, half the crew was volunteer fans, so amazing. And then of course Matt and Bjorn, amazing. And with Matt, when he got into it, I knew how much work he was in for, because he's like me in a lot of ways, in that he's kind of a perfectionist. He really wants to put the best quality product out. He's not going to go half-assed with it. And I knew that was going to be a lot of hours, a lot of hard work for him. And I sat down with him really early on, and I just tried to prepare him and say, just so you know, this is going to be a killer. But this is such a unique opportunity. I know so many thousands of people looking for any way to get into video games. And they'll do anything. They'll test. They'll buy coffee. Just let me get my foot in the door. You are going to get a credit here, which people would kill for. And I think hopefully that helped motivate him. But my God, without him, this game would not have gotten done.
All right.
And then it went dark.
Yeah. So, tell me, I don't know, I should ask that question, but why not? So tell me what you think, if you can reveal anything. If you can't, that's fine, don't worry about it. But, I've been asking everybody this, so I might as well ask you. Tell me what you think about the future of text.
The future of text. Well, there is a future for text. Whether or not it gets shared out publicly is another question. No, I've had in my mind for a very long time what the arc of Tex's story was going to be, and it's evolved, as things do over time. But there was always an end point to it, and I would love to get a chance to tell that one way or the other. If we're lucky, this game will be successful enough to justify doing a sequel, and then we'll do it, and we'll build up and really pay off that story arc. If we don't, then I may tell it in a book, if there are enough people that are interested. So,
We'll take it.
Is that a yes?
We'll take it, absolutely. All right. Final bonus question. What do you think about you and me teaming up to rule the world? Because, honestly, super talented dudes named Aaron don't come around every day.
Aaron squared seems like a recipe for domination.
I would rather not compete against you. I would rather work with you. So
it's so tricky. Again, we can't cross the streams. I think as long as we don't cross the Aaron streams, we should be okay.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you could write me a role as a villain in the next piece, but...
Dude, you're born to play a villain. You just got the look.
Well, it doesn't help that I bought a suit that was all black, with the exception of the tie. But...
I feel like if I don't answer your questions, you're going to put a hit out on me.
No. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Oh, it was awesome. All gold, all of it.